Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, Cookie Creative. My name is Elena, and today we're going to be doing a speed build. I made today's build for the Sweater Weather collab. Check out the hashtag TS4SweaterWeather to see more fall themed builds in Henford-on-Bagley and Brindleton Bay. I was given the 30 by 20 lot that's across the street from the Gnome's Arm. As you can see, I am not there right now. I am in San Sequoia, and I was making a shell for another build and realized this would be the perfect shell for this collab. So I actually ended up making two builds with this shell. I'll be showing that one next week, but for now, this is the one we're going to be talking about. It's on a 30 by 20 lot. It's 2 beds, 1 bath, 80,000 simoleons, and the packs I used are Horse Ranch, Growing Together, Cottage Living, and Seasons. I thought that would be a good mix of packs for fall items, and at this point, I had not decided yet that this is going to be the build for this pack, so I was just using base game, and I decided to add a second story, which this is the moment it all was coming together for me. I moved it to the new world. You can see that here, and I play around with the roofing, make it kind of match that cottage style a little bit more. I play around with a few different swatches for the roof, but I ended up settling on these black shingles. I use black shingles so often. I try not to use them. I try to use some of the other colors for once, but it's just the black always matches with everything, so it's kind of my go-to color for roofing. But yeah, this is no different. I add a stone fireplace, and I've been doing this in like all of my builds lately, and soon I'll get over that, so don't worry if you're getting sick of me doing these chimneys. It will be over soon. I just like to go through these phases, and one phase that I'm going through right now also is this roof thing. So I'm doing it right here. I'm placing a roof inside of the other roof, and it's just, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's right in front of you. It just sometimes, if I just put the roof trim like I did over on the far right one, it just doesn't have the same feel. It feels a little empty up top, and even adding a window still doesn't feel right. So I've been adding this roof inside of another roof just to add a little something else, get rid of all that wall, give it a little something interesting, especially when it's something like this. I want it to feel small but still big. This house is not very big at all, but it still has 2 stories, and I think, yeah, like I just said, it was 2 bedrooms. So yeah, it can fit a family of 3, maybe 4 if you try hard enough. But I am now putting the final details on the outside. This is where I'm trying to figure out the color palette. A lot of this stuff changes because I knew this is a fall themed collab. That's the thing. I knew it from the beginning. I knew it as I was building this, but I was building in summer, and I just sort of went with spring summer colors on the inside. So near the end of the video, I do change a lot of the swatches. So if you're watching this and wondering, this does not feel very fall themed at all, don't worry. I go back and I change a lot of the things. I've just been building so many summer homes, especially since we just are coming out of summer. Still not quite fall yet, but we're almost there. But where I am right now, I'm visiting family, and the leaves are changing, and yeah, fall has definitely been on my mind. I just wasn't thinking about it, I guess, when I was building this. I am excited to build a couple more fall things. I have a whole bunch of like spooky builds planned. I'm very excited for spooky season and a ton of different occult builds. I'm hopefully going to be able to release a couple different worlds to my save file and finally get part 2 out that has a few neighborhoods. I definitely want to have like Forgotten Hollow and the one that comes with werewolves. Just my mind's not thinking right now. Glimmerbrook. But I do want to have like a lot of different occult builds. I'm really excited about that. But obviously some family ones too that are not spooky at all, just like fall in general. Not so much Halloween, but just the season. I'm actually curious in the comments below. Let me know, do you play with occults? Do you like occults? Are you looking forward to this spooky season? Or when it comes to fall/autumn, are you more of that family friendly pumpkin patch apple cider kind of person? Let me know. I'm very curious. I'm taking a little tally. And I did grow up in America, so I know that Halloween is a lot bigger here than it is in most of the world. And we take it pretty seriously, I know. I live in the Caribbean now, so it's not as big of a thing there, but I mean, it still is. There's still Halloween stuff to do, and I don't know what I'm going to be this year, but probably I'll pick my costume last minute. I always do. And I haven't really done anything for Halloween in years, so I do think I'm going to be doing something this year. So here I'm actually working on the landscaping, which again is not fall feeling at all. But when I do change the season, a lot of these leaves change as well. So it feels a lot more fall once we get there. But I did use a lot of like flowers and bushes that I probably shouldn't have used because fall, it they all turn kind of like an ugly shade. And this is one this is one reason why I'm a summer girl. I just I love green plants. I love everything that looks alive, and fall is beautiful too, but then there's that point where everything has already all the leaves have fallen off, everything is dry and dead. It does smell nice. The air does smell nice. It is a little crisp in air. It's lovely. But there is this point where it's kind of starts getting ugly and just kind of gray. And I don't get me wrong, I like the seasons changing. I think it's really cool. I think it's a great concept. Good for you, Earth, for rotating around the sun and changing your weather and all that great stuff. But for me, I just need the sunshine, just something I need in my life. I even tried those sun lamps for a while and they didn't really work. I was living outside of Chicago and it's very gray there. And I tried using my sun lamp in the winters and it just was like even more depressing to me. I was just thinking like, oh, I miss the green, I miss the sun. I mean, I don't like it when it's super duper hot. Like who does? Who likes it when it's so hot you can't even think? But I function better in the summer, in a temperate summer, like in a not super scalding hot summer. That's where I thrive. Even though I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a fire sign. I think in another world, in another life, I would be like a water sign. I like spending my time at the beach and doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, speaking of Sagittarius, that is coming up as well. We are coming up spooky season. That's like Scorpio, Sagittarius, that kind of stuff. So this is my season to be me, to be and if you meet me, I'm like uh not a girly girl. That's not the best way to describe me, but I'm definitely like bubbly and all this stuff. But man, I do love me spooky season. And I can't look at blood. It's just something I can't look at. It just kind of grosses me out. So when I look for spooky movies, scary movies, I try to find ones that aren't gory. But those end up being really good too, because they're usually like psychological thrillers. Oh my gosh, let me talk about this build. So I did put some kids activities, aka I just put like this little monkey bars. And I also added a lot of plants around here. Again, perfect for fall. But I did want it to look good year round too, because if you're downloading this from the gallery, I really hope that it looks good in all four seasons. Like when I build in winter, oh my gosh, I have such a hard time. I have to build in summer for winter builds. I'll add snow later. It's so hard to see the ground. You can't use your terrain paint if there's snow, and it's just not easy. And now we're inside the build and I'm working on the fireplace. I'm using the same brick as I did on the outside on the inside because I kind of like the way that looks. It makes it look like an actual built up fireplace. I'm adding a ton of different wallpapers and flooring to the ground. I like to do that first. Sometimes I don't do that first. It really depends on what I'm in the mood for. Sometimes I place items first to figure out what color, what wallpaper I want to use, and what flooring I want to use. But then sometimes I let the wallpaper and floor speak to me to pick the items. It just depends. I don't build a certain way every time. Sometimes I'm watching my videos and I'm like, yeah, why did I do that? Why did I do it that way? I don't know. I just I change it up. I just follow my heart and I do what I got to do. Here I'm adding open shelving because the windows are in the way. This kitchen, I cut out a lot because I was having a hard time with the just the arrangement of this house. I don't like having my kitchens where a ton of windows are because then I can't put overhead cabinets. But in instances like this house where there really wasn't a better space, I just use shelving instead of cabinets because it's just easier. Like let's say I did put a shelf or a cabinet right there, it would be hitting that window. I might change it up. I can't remember if this is the final look of the kitchen, but I know I play around with it for a while, so I can't even I just built this too. This is not a long time ago. I just I've been building a lot lately, which is really exciting, and I have a lot of content I need to edit and upload to the gallery even. Not everything I've finished is even up there. But I'm just taking my time. I like to slowly trickle the content so that way I can live my life and do other things. It's been hard trying to balance between hanging out with family and also keeping up with my sim stuff. I know I could take a break. I could take a break whenever I want. No one's making me do this. But I don't want to take a full break if I don't have to. And I enjoy this. It's not like feel obligated to do this because there are people making me. I just want to keep up with it if I can. It's just something I enjoy doing. So yeah, that's why I've been doing this while I'm still on vacation. And it's also a nice break from just, I like having that familiar thing to do instead of just having everything new. It's like this is sort of keeping me grounded while I'm here. I'm visiting my family. I know I've mentioned this a couple times, but for over a month, I'm here for a while. So it's one of those things. And I don't have my dog. Oh my God, I miss my little Koki baby. I love her so much. Koki is, I've talked about her many times before on this account because my account is named after her. Her full name is Coconut. I call her Koki for short, and I miss her. She's my best friend. She's my little shadow, and it's been weird not having her, but I have been hanging out with my grandma's Chihuahua. Coconut is part Chihuahua. She's like pit bull Chihuahua, Cocker Spaniel. She even has German Shepherd in her. We did a DNA test and it was all over the place. It was pretty cool. And some of the breeds just completely, I feel like out of nowhere. Chow Chow was on there. That I don't see it, but it doesn't matter. It's who she is as a person or as a dog that matters. Her personality. She's got a great little personality. But yeah. Anyway, she's like my almost like my therapy dog. I love having her, and it's just weird not having her. Obviously, I miss my husband too, but I also have been spending a lot of time with my family, keeping me very busy. So that's been very nice. And also, it's good inspiration. I've been taking like pictures around my grandma's house to get like granny core inspiration because her house is actually like granny core. It's got the wallpaper, it's got everything. It's perfect. So as I'm finishing up the living room here, I add a piano, and now that we have these upright pianos, I've been putting them in all my builds that I use these packs in. Base game should get one. I don't like that base game only has grand pianos because those are harder to put in spaces, but I'm glad we have this upright pianos. I I'm not I've never am disappointed in anything. I just like assume I don't want to say I assume the worst. I just like I usually have low expectations of anything. That way when something happens, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'd rather live my life that way. I have too much anxiety in general to not live that way. I'm trying to just be as carefree as possible. Now I'm working. I go in and out of this house so much because I just I I didn't have a plan. I've been trying to do one room at a time. I do it really well sometimes, but it's so hard when I see an item in the catalog and I think, "Oh gosh, I would love that to be outside." And then I'm editing a speed build and I'm like, "I'm not going to rearrange the order." Because sometimes I do. Sometimes in my TikTok videos, if I am working on one room, go to another one and then come back, I'll just edit it so that way I'm working on one room at a time. That way I don't get people confused about where they are or whatever. So that's how the sausage is made, people. That's that's how it is. This is another room where I love how it turned out. I love this color scheme, but it is not fall. This like green color here is very spring, and I did not change this. I left it this way. I think in other spots of the house I added a lot of red and orange. Again, you will see that at the end, so this is not something I clip out, but I kept this room the way it was because I like the green. It's it's not beige. I've been using a lot of beiges and browns lately, and those are just so safe, and I've been trying to do a little bit more color again. I've been trying to get myself out of that beige phase. It's so easy to just fall into a comfort zone. And I'm like, I have to use more pops of color because I love color. I think color is so fun. It can show different emotions and personality. And I want all my builds to feel very different. So the thing about this room too is that there's like an awkward amount of space right in the middle. I can't remember if I add something else to it, but either way, it's spacious. I'm not mad when I leave a lot of space though, because when you're like throwing a party or something in The Sims and there's a ton of Sims in one space, it is nice when it's not too crowded. But anyway, here we are in the kids' room, and this is like green as well. Another nice light green room for our fall inspired build. But I do keep this also the same way. I think it's cute. I like that it kind of matches the parents' room as well and this wallpaper. I do love it. And I don't usually like to use wallpaper, the same wallpaper on all four walls, This includes even a solid color. I usually like to do an accent wall or something like that. But for this case, I decided to paint the whole room one color. That with the parents' room too. Most of this house, it's not that I was getting lazy, it's just sometimes I want to save those special wall designs and floor designs and stuff for other builds. I don't need to do everything in one build. So this is upstairs. This is a reading nook. I thought this was going to be really nice. I wanted a room up here, like a hobby room that Sims wouldn't be in all the time because it is kind of annoying playing in this room because the roof like crops off half of it, so you can't really see into it very well. I think, oh my God, why can't I remember this? But in gameplay, the roof might disappear. So just like trees do when you get close, but I might be wrong. You can also put walls all the way down and then you won't be distracted by that roof. Here I am placing bushes up the wall. I've been doing this a lot in my builds lately too. Again, something else that I've been doing and I'll get over it at some point and start doing it in just a few builds, but I'm having fun. So this is the base game bush. Can't remember what it's called, but it's one of my favorites. I use it in like most of my builds. But I decided to do this on a couple of different spots because I just felt like this build was lacking something on the exterior. And I, at this point, I wasn't using seasons. I was just trying to use Horse Ranch, Cottage Living, and Growing Together. But then I decided to throw in seasons because this build needs some pumpkins. It needs something else to make it feel fall. And I do add pumpkins later, so don't worry. But at this point I'm not using seasons. And the bushes that are going up the wall when it is fall, it does look kind of cool. I always try to make sure I remember to add lights too, and I check it at night to see how illuminated the house looks. There's nothing like having a very pitch black house when you forget to add lights. So I like to have good ambiance at night. And I use these cute, I think they're base game lights, outside lights that look like flowers. So I use those ones. I thought it would be a little bit more charming in this case. And now I'm going through the house. This is what I usually do before I end. Is this near the end? I'll go through, give the rooms all one look over again, and I usually change a few things. So I wanted to add a hood to the kitchen, to the stove. So I ended up changing the window around. And since there was this big open wall, I decided to do this bush thing again. So I added more bushes to the outside running up the wall because I just feel like it made it look like that space wasn't super empty. And I didn't really want to put any art on the outside of the walls or anything like that. So I put a hose and a ton of bushes. It made it look a little bit better. And I also painted the ceiling. I think I showed that in the video as well, but that is still something I'm very excited about. It does look a lot better, but it's something that I'm still not used to, so I will forget it quite often. I have caught myself a few times right before uploading to make sure that I add some ceiling paint. I know it's not a big deal, especially for people that just play and they're not taking screenshots, but I like to have it. I just want my builds to feel very finished, have a really polished look. And like I said, I was going through this and just making sure. And this is something I don't always add to my speed builds, but in this case, I was building this in 2, 3 sittings. So, like I was building at night and I was getting kind of tired and I didn't want to build anymore. So I don't always do my best when I'm building when I'm not in the mood. So I went through it again, changed a few things, and now we're in fall. Doesn't it look a little bit more fall-like now with the leaves changing? The bushes are a bit green, but this is early fall. I made sure I added Patchy near the garden because he's such a help. I love Patchy. If you have seasons and you don't use Patchy, check him out. Check his pocket, give him some seeds, talk to him a little bit, and he will help you out with your garden. It's great. It's a lot of help. I also changed some swatches of the garden stuff. I was using a lot of blues, and blues is just not a fall color. So I changed a lot of the bushes to red, orange, just a few different shades. I kind of like having a few different pops of color in there, just like how the tree leaves are a few different colors. I like the mixture. And now I go inside and I add some decorations. And yes, I'm moving around through the house a lot, so I'm sorry if that makes you a little dizzy or anything like that, but it is what it is. I I wanted to add these things. So I really like the color that I end up changing the chairs and the couches. I really feel like after I do this, it feels not like a totally different build, but it definitely feels like a fall theme build. To discover and maybe download some fall theme builds, don't forget to check out the hashtag TS4sweaterweather. And thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!